Good now, revolutionaries, and welcome to the Rise Up Morning Show.
Good morning, the Rise Up Morning Show.
Man, I never get over it. That's just the best. That's just the
Evan,
best.
where did good now come from?
Good now came from you, and it came from the TFM
It sure did.
Discord server. It was a way to greet our global audience instead of saying GM or GN or whatever, because we didn't know what the hell time it was. So it was good now. Isn't that right?
Mm-hmm.
You feeling proud about that this morning?
I just realized that we say it every day, and there's probably a number of people like, what the hell are they ever saying?
That's right. And I always call everybody revolutionaries because for a long time, the mission of Faceless Labs was to lead the financial revolution and empower the Faceless Many. And the story of the Faceless Many is, this story of all of us, these warriors of the light, these common people united in the extraordinary effort to rise up. And that's a pretty revolutionary thing. So it's a good now, revolutionaries. That's where it comes from. And if you are here, perhaps for the first time because you're curious or concerned about cryptocurrency, or you're just one of our friends who's working on learning, then you are in the right place. We're glad to be here with you. Alex and I have been here since 2017. Just everyday people doing what we can to learn about blockchain and then share it with others. So if you've got questions about cryptocurrency, about Bitcoin, about smart contracts, is quantum computing going to change things? Is Elon Musk going to, whatever it is, don't be afraid. There's no such thing as a dumb question. Alex, how you doing this morning?
Well, I'm here now. So said for the 2 days in a row, my dumbass this has never been a problem. We wake up super early. And for the past 2 days in a row, for some reason, and I sleep the same amount of time every night, so it's not that either. I just have blown right through the alarm and then woken up and had to basically mad dash to school. And then of course, you're in traffic and everyone who is doing the same thing as me is doing the same thing as me. And it's just really throws off your whole morning, but we're good. We're here. I've had a couple videos really kind of make some moves lately, and I definitely wanted to I wish that would be great to slow down. Not today.
One day at a time though. We'll get there.
I think it'd be good. I wanted to go through a couple little tax things, especially as we're getting to the point where people are going to be considering making some sales, or they should be, or looking at buying stuff or doing whatever, as we kind of sit here. And I haven't looked at the markets today yet, but I don't know.
Well, surprised the markets are up. Bob tells us it's a $94,484 Bitcoin. Looking good today. No joke about that.
Okay, in that case, definitely some profit stuff, and we'll talk.
And I have a story about Ethereum scaling and also the Robinhood DeFi wallet.
Sweet.
Are you hip to that one? So
no.
If you're not, it's honestly, I heard about it. Like I hear about most things these days on the Unchained Crypto podcast. They're sponsoring the show. And honestly, I think it's smart as hell because Robinhood has a terrible reputation in the crypto community. So you want to talk about taxes first? And then in between, we can take a couple back and forth questions?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, that sounds good. So for people who don't know, I'll just set the table and tell you that though crypto is the promise of decentralizing, redistributing power in the financial system, unfortunately, you still have to pay your taxes. That is the sound of, the end of the race, the finish line. You got to pay the taxes. It's easier than ever to track what you do online now that it's on a blockchain, and your centralized exchanges like Coinbase or Binance, they are required to report your trading activity to your, jurisdiction, whether you live in the United States or somewhere else. It's different for every country, and they are compliant. Let me tell you, when you do what's called KYCing, you share your identification with them in order to create an account. You connect your bank. They got your number. They got your information. And most of them make it easy to get your information from their platform and give it to your accountant or put it in a tax software, just like they make it easy to share it with your government. So if you make profit on your crypto, That's good news. You want to pay your taxes. Alex, what are your thoughts and tips on taxes that you wanted to share with folks today?
Yeah, so I just put videos in on my profile that I have done about taxes. There's 2 right now. I'm doing another one today, kind of following up and clarifying. But there's a new crypto tax playlist. The first one is a little bit longer. The second one I think is a little bit shorter. This one I'm going to cover some stuff like tax loss harvesting, which I did not talk about in the previous video, but there's a couple like bullet points I just wanted to make because these are the overwhelming abundance of questions. Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
So basically, there's a couple points that you need to just be aware of as you're getting into the whole tax scene and selling. And do you want to just add that as a keyword?
Yeah. How do I do it from right here? Hang on. You got it?
Yeah.
Okay. We're enthusiastic about the season. We both spent a lot of time in Michigan, so we love the snow. But the best way to get our attention and leave a favorable impression in our mouths and the minds of all our listeners is just not to spam the chat. So sorry for all our friends on YouTube. I think we're getting raided. Isn't that so exciting, Alex? We're like crypto people on the internet worth spamming your meme token too.
I don't know. I hope that people realize that it doesn't do what you think it's going to do.
No, it just doesn't. It just makes me resolve to forget you as soon as possible. And if I see you again, it makes me think, God, I hate that. It's like
it makes me want your token to fail, and I want all of you to lose your money. That's what it makes me want.
Oh.
It doesn't make me be like, oh, I should go buy some of that. It's going to pop off. It's like, oh, okay, the dipshits are already here. It's too late.
Yeah, for our friends on YouTube, you got the clean chat today. Tori and Bob and Focus are sitting over there saying,
there we go.
We got it. Okay, don't fret about it. So I will continue to mute and...
Okay. The other annoying part is that TikTok is just bullshit.
I wonder if I have to do it because I'm the...
No.
No? Oh. Yeah, sorry. Well, while Alex is doing that, let me quickly tell you, pop up the notice board. Maybe this is a good time to do a commercial. We have a lot of, benefits to doing a live show like this. We're live Monday through Thursday at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time to share helpful news and commentary. You can watch us on Twitter. You can watch us on TikTok. You can watch us on your TV if you're watching on YouTube. Always want to know if people are watching on their TV. And that's where all of our recordings live forever. But did you know we also have a central hub where people can gather when the show is off? If you have a crypto question that we missed, that we don't see because it gets buried in the spammy chat, then you should join the Rise Up Discord server. It's right here on the screen if you're on TikTok. It's right here if you're on YouTube. Discord.gg/riseup. If you don't write that down or you need it later, the easier to remember link is theriseupmorningshow.com. It's got links to our YouTube, to our occasional newsletter, to all of our official social media profiles. And that is the best way to connect with us. We would love to see you in the Discord. It's totally free. If you've never joined a Discord community, they're like a Facebook timeline, but different timelines for different topics. And it can be intimidating. So we've got tutorials. We've got really friendly people in there ready to welcome you, learners at all levels of experience who want to hang out with you, talk about crypto, and learn, rise up together. So, Alex, we're talking about taxes, and a lot of people have questions about taxes. You've recently made a playlist. I ought to do the same. I wish TikTok would give us the feature to have like a shared playlist so we could just like mash them all together. That
would be really cool.
So what are some of the things that people need to think about? You mentioned tax loss harvesting.
Yeah. So couple bullet points I would say to be aware of, and these are all covered in my video, so I'm not going to belabor them. Don't be afraid of capital gains tax. I see that all the time. I see people talking about, hey, don't sell until you get at least a whatever % gain because capital gains tax is going to get you. I had an interesting interaction in the comments yesterday on a video where I made the point that like a lot of you probably have no idea what capital gains rate you are required to pay. And you can look that up on the IRS's website. They publish it every single year. Guidance for 2025 is up and on the website. You can go look at it. And or excuse me, for this year is up. So for the taxes you will pay in 2025, you can check it. It relates to amount made and your income. And so I always just see 40% on short-term capital gains tax bandied about. That is the highest income tax bracket. So you have to be at the top of the IRS's line. And I don't remember exactly what the number is, but I know in previous years it's been somewhere north of a joint household income of $390,000. So above that, sure, short-term capital gains, which is assets held for less than 1 year, you might pay a high rate like that. But a lot of people actually pay 0 or 15%, or even less. There's a couple different brackets. So just look into that. IRS website has all that kind of guidance. Capital gains is broken up into 2 categories. The first is short-term. The second is long-term. The cutoff for that is 1 year. So if you invest in something, you buy Bitcoin and you sell it 3 months later, that's short-term. If you buy it and you sell it 1 year later, that's now long-term. There's a methodology that the IRS uses, and most accountants will use when you are tracking this kind of stuff. Let's say I had this question yesterday. I bought Bitcoin 5 years ago, and I also bought it 3 months ago. If I go to sell one, am I short-term or long-term? You are long-term, provided that you sell one, because it's first in, first out. So it goes based on the first time you bought and then the first time you sold.
But that's something you can reconfigure if you want when you submit your taxes.
Yes. If you went and sold both of them, you would do both. You would pay, the short-term rate on half and the long-term rate on the other half. There's also so different wallets, all that sort of stuff. This is another question I got all the time. What about transfers between wallets? Transfers between wallets, transfers like off of an exchange back to the exchange from your software wallet to your cold wallet, from your cold wallet back to the hot wallet, whatever. Transfers between wallets are not taxable events. You do not have to pay taxes if you buy Bitcoin on Coinbase, it goes up in price, and you withdraw it to a cold wallet.
Alex, what if it's a cold wallet that somebody else I love or know owns? Like if I send it to Kim or a child of mine or something like that. Do you know about that?
Don't quote me on this. This is where I'm going to tell you that I'm not a tax strategist. I would tag in Angel,
Totally.
and I tag Angel in so many comments.
I do too. Somebody asked me that one the other day, and I told them, you got to ask Order Leg Way ETH.
I was going to say, for the record, I am not a CPA. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an expert. But I know
now, we do
answers to
have an
most of
episode
these.
with Angel, though, that you can find on our YouTube channel where he goes into a lot of this stuff in more detail. So after Alex's playlist, you want to check that one out. I'm sorry, Alex, go ahead.
Yeah, no, and please feel free to send me all of the questions. And if it's one I do not know the answer to, I will tag Angel in it. He knows the answer to all of them. I've just been doing this for enough that I've run into most scenarios, so I can handle most of the simple ones. But in answer to your question, Evan, there are all sorts of special circumstances for gifts. How much you're allowed to gift someone tax-free per year. I think it's less than $10,000. There's also, miscellaneous income of like less than 600 and more than 600. There's all sorts of special things. So if you have a unique situation that is not included in everything I'm about to cover here, reach out, let me know. If I don't know the answer, I can connect you to an actual tax professional who can help you answer the question. Because there were a few questions that I did not know the answer to. And Angel was putting in overtime, helping me out in the comment sections, answering questions. So transfers between wallets, not taxable. The thing that's taxable, and this was the bulk of the questions, the thing that is taxable is realizing the profit in anything. So one of the examples, I bought Dogecoin at 10 cents. It went up to 17 cents and I swapped it into Bitcoin on one of the platforms. That is a taxable event because you made profit in Dogecoin and you realized it in something else. So you don't have to realize the tax profit into US dollars. You could realize your Ethereum profit into an altcoin on Ethereum or vice versa. Stable coins are the same thing. If you realize profit into a stable coin, that counts as profit. I feel like I have to keep making the disclaimer. I also agree that this is bullshit. I'm just trying to tell you how it works. So don't get mad at me, get mad at the IRS. And I share your ire. It is a little ridiculous the way that this stuff works, especially with regards to crypto, because crypto gets double taxed when you're someone like me who gets paid in crypto for work that they do. If I don't sell it immediately and someone pays me $1,000 in Solana, and then it goes up and now it's worth $1,200, guess what? I owe income taxes on $1,000, and then I owe short-term capital gains tax on the $200. So that's
Isn't that
dope.
wild?
Yeah, it's really cool. So listen, I'm 100% with you guys. It's bullshit, but this is the way that it works, and hopefully we get some better tax guidance, because it's prohibitive. I would love to. It would be great to be able to get paid in crypto and not have to sell it immediately. And for the record, just because I don't want to start the fight on all of this, this has been tax policy for a very long time, longer than Biden has been in office. We're also currently not under his tax plan. So just remember, this is a government-wide problem, and it has been for ages, that income and capital gains clash and people get double taxed. That's fine. You can be angry at whoever you want, I guess. Okay, so I also saw a lot of comments, an alarming number of comments that were just like, don't worry about it, because Trump is going to get rid of all capital gains tax, or he said no tax on crypto. That's great, and we can keep our fingers crossed. Please don't conduct your finances based on a campaign trail promise from anybody. Plus, it's already too late to rewrite that for this year or next year. So just keep that in mind, that you don't want to hold an asset longer than you would normally want to hold it. If you're in some super risky altcoin and you're in profit, please don't try to hold it for years on the off chance that some president is going to get rid of all capital gains tax, because I find that very hard to believe, and I wouldn't plan on that. I would rather, I'd rather bite the bullet and pay the taxes on my profit than I would hold something for too long and then have to swallow a loss. And that's the last point I wanted to make, is you can also claim a capital loss. For the record, here's another thing that I really disagree with the laws about, but you can claim a capital loss, which is if you buy crypto and it goes down in price and you sell it at a loss, you can offset gains by declaring a capital loss. You can only do that up to $3,000 a year per person. So as a fun reminder, there is no ceiling on capital gains that you can be taxed on, but there's a very low ceiling on how much you can claim as a loss. You are allowed to hold or to roll over a loss. So let's say you have $6,000 of loss in 1 year, you can do 3,000 this year, and you can keep 3,000 and roll it over to the next year. Now, I just saw a comment about LLCs. There are a couple different tax mitigation strategies. Again, I'm not the one that you want to strategize with, but I can certainly connect you to them. If you're in the Discord and there's a desire for this, let me know. We'll get Angel back. We'll do a Q&A with an actual tax professional, tax strategist, CPA, tax expert. But suffice it to say, you can roll over capital loss to the next year. It is possible to mitigate some of your tax exposure and tax obligation by holding assets in something like a Roth IRA. You pay taxes on the money before you deposit it into the account. Capital gains that you make inside of that account, they are pre-taxed. So that's kind of a benefit, which is one of the benefits to, using the Bitcoin spot ETF, for example, for a little bit. Of course, you're limited on how much you can put in to those accounts every single year, but that's one way. And then as far as trading and LLC and all that kind of stuff, I'm not even going to try. That's outside of my area of expertise. But we can totally get Angel to cover some of that stuff. So if you have tax questions that I didn't cover, I've got the note for LLC. Let me know. Drop it in Discord. I will put a list together and we'll get Angel back and we'll do like a more comprehensive, specific tax question. Angel is wonderful. I have no doubt that we can get him on the show in the next week or so. So send me questions. I will note them down. We will get an episode put together.
You know what I think too, Alex? I really think we might need to do a class for that, because even just hearing you talk about it now, it's so hard for people who are coming in and out, who don't have the context, who can't press rewind, who don't have visual aids. I think that we should have, the next time we do this conversation, we should have it in a classroom with a PDF that people can reference afterwards. I already was making notes like, we need a PDF for this. You know what I mean? In the meantime, before we get Angel and before people get their PDF, we would recommend that you check out Coinly or Coin Tracker to get prepped for taxes. We've used Coinly, Alex and I, for the last couple of years. This was the hardest year for me because I had to reconnect a lot of stuff, but they make it easy to connect your wallets and exchanges. The show is not sponsored by them, but it should be. And we have a link at theriseuppmorningshow.com you can use to get yourself a little Coinly discount. It's in the exclusive deals tab at theriseuppmorningshow.com. Do you have any
good
other
points?
Yeah,
just to wrap this up, a couple of good points. There are different requirements in different states.
Yeah,
so
in different countries.
Take the things that I say and then apply them when you look up specific rules for the place you live in. Evan lives in Tennessee. I live in Georgia. We have different rules. Mac lives in Florida. Will lives in Massachusetts. Every single state has slightly different rules. So there's kind of like a general, like federal tax policy. And then there are state by state. Some states do not charge certain kinds of taxes. Some countries don't charge certain kinds of taxes. You got to look it up for where you are. And if you have questions about a specific place and you're having trouble finding the information, send me the question, send me the place. We can help you search. There's a couple comments that I just think are worth addressing. Why bother investing? I get it. I totally get it. It's really frustrating the way that a lot of this stuff works. The rates that get applied to stuff. It feels like, it doesn't feel like, it is. You do the work, you take the risk, you come out on top. Government takes a fat slice. You do the work, you take a risk, you don't come out on top. Government says, well, too bad, so sad, you're on your own. It's rough. It's stupid. I don't agree with it. The best thing that we can do is just educate people on the way that this stuff works. And, I wish that it was different. I wish I could wave a magic wand and we could all be exempt from capital gains tax, but unfortunately, I don't have that power, or I would have used it already. There was a couple of questions just about like self-reporting. If you use a centralized exchange like Coinbase or Kraken or Binance, these places will prepare tax documents for your account and deliver them to you at the end of the tax year, which is very beneficial. You can also, like Evan said, use a service like Coinly to connect, these accounts. Let Coinly, check your transaction histories on these accounts, and they can help prepare tax documents there. If you're doing, like I do, a lot of transacting off exchanges, and you're, using your own software wallets, and you're trading and buying and selling on DEXs, you're supposed to keep track of that and self-report. Someone asked me yesterday, and obviously, you guys know how this goes. I have to answer this question a specific way, but I'll give you the nuance. Someone asked me like, yeah, well, what are the odds that anyone's going to audit me? If I'm just playing with a few dollars here and there and whatever. I'll be honest, the odds are low. Okay, the odds are low that anyone's going to get audited, but they're not zero. So if you want to take the risk and roll the dice on what that would be, which is tax fraud, then go for it. The government is not overly forgiving to people who commit tax fraud. Unless you're a billionaire, then carte blanche, go off, do what you want, pay no taxes. But if you're just a regular person like us who has a job and pays regular people taxes, the government does not like it. So that is a risk that you have to consciously decide to take for yourself. And obviously, I'm going to tell you to just do the right thing and pay your taxes. But at least understand the laws and at least understand the rules. And just like Solano says on TikTok, just a little bit of crime.
It's just a little bit of crime.
Just
It's
a little
just
bit
a
of
little
crime.
bit of crime.
That's really got to be a t-shirt, Evan. Just a little bit of crime.
Yeah, and also,
Don't come for me.
so
Yeah. So, okay, wrap up. If you just joined, we just went through some tax stuff. There's a lot of nuance here. It's very hard to do this live. I think that, Evan, the best thing to do is honestly to do a, like, we can broadcast it live, but to work with Angel to do a Q&A long form where we go through all this stuff that we can post on YouTube and have reference to for tax questions. And then we can open it up to questions, live questions after that. And then kind of, riff a little bit there. But if you have questions about taxes, you're having trouble finding the answers, let me know and we'll get you answers.
Yeah, I honestly think it might even be better to do it after after the end of the year, when it's start of the year, when it's fresh on people's mind. I mean, I don't know. We can do it anytime. And we'll probably do it more than once, but that sounds good to me. Robbie, welcome. Everybody else, welcome. A number of folks have asked, what's this? What's that? If you had a question, I've seen it go by for the most part, and I've got a note about it. We just got done talking about taxes, like Alex said. I want to talk a little about scaling Ethereum layer 2s. This is big news. I quickly wanted to mention, did you know Robinhood now has a DeFi wallet? Also not a sponsorship thing. I'm not telling you to go use it, but we dog on Robinhood all the time, dude, because it's a central exchange and like they kind of have crappy crypto policies, but apparently now they have a DeFi wallet, which is self-custody. And they use the Arbitrum L2 to make most transactions gasless. I haven't looked under the hood, but my understanding is you can pay gas fees as like a spread in whatever token you're sending. If I want to send you Doge or whatever, I can pay the gas fee in Doge, and it's super minimal because it's Arbitrum. Isn't that wild? I think that'll be hyper competitive.
I think so. I mean, I was actually just talking to my mom about that the other day when she was moving some tokens around, asking about, paying the gas for this and that in this and that, and needing to like move a little bit over so she had gas for this. And I'm just remembering like how annoying that is to then end up with, like little dust amounts of all sorts of stuff and just all of your different wallets, and how obnoxious that is to have to, I just had it with Exodus, and God, hey, Exodus, call me. You need some help on the user interface front. It's bullshit and garbage, and I love you guys. Exodus is a phenomenal wallet that I've been using for years, but oh my God, it's bad.
And that's
please, like, get at me. I will help you. I would help Exodus for free with a phone call, just because, oh my God, it took me and I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I'm pretty good at this. It took me like 2 hours to just get some crypto off of Exodus because of how annoying the limits were. It was like, the minimum withdrawal for this is like, some of these tokens had like a $900 minimum withdrawal before you were allowed to send it anywhere. So they're doing this like really, really skeezy bullshit to keep you on the platform. And like, you gotta get rid of that, man. I'm like out here actively telling people to just avoid Exodus unless you're dealing with thousands and thousands of dollars, because the fees were insane and the minimums. It was like, I had like some old Pepe over there from ages ago that I forgot existed. I was like, yeah, let's cash that out. It's up like crazy. Let's cash that out and put it into some Bitcoin. No, minimum to transfer like $860. It was insane.
That's wild. That's borderline scammy. So a couple of folks are asking really good questions about gas and about what other wallets beside Robinhood even do that. So Coinbase wallet makes it pretty easy to transfer things between their wallet and their exchange. You can send USDC, for example, for free. And they have given a lot of utility to Ether, the Ethereum network token. Gas, if you're new to cryptocurrency, is a term you're going to encounter a lot, which refers to the transaction fees that are unique to our space. Everybody uses the word that crypto is decentralized, right, Alex? But there's still people.
The ultimate meme.
the ultimate meme. There's still people behind the machines that run the computer code that make the network possible, and they spend energy. So is it literally like gasoline that we're talking about here? It's something else, right? We're talking about compensating them for the energy that they expend to make our stuff work.
The shortest explanation is that gas fee is the crypto slang term for transaction fee. It's the fee that you pay to use a network, to send money, to do whatever. It's a transaction fee. We just call them all gas because they run the network.
And it's not a bad fee in the sense that it can be onerous, but it's not like I saw the congressional hearing on TikTok the other day with, did you see this MasterCard and Visa? And they were like, what's your profit margin? And they were like 50%. It's not like there's some guy in a suit.
Did you see the shade from Visa?
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
So MasterCard's representative there was just like, about 50% asks Visa what their profit margin is. He's like, more.
He said, I think it's slightly higher, actually.
It's slightly higher.
So it's not like
the look on those people's faces as they were getting, and I hate having to agree with Josh Hawley. Yeah. But like, I will say the best comment that I saw about that interaction between Hawley and the MasterCard and Visa people was capitalist stunned at capitalisming. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, 100%. You've created this environment and now you're mind blown that companies grew really big and are taking advantage of it.
Tell me why.
So the point though is that there's no person like a CEO who's setting that rate, who's in charge of it. It is set by protocol, meaning there's a piece of computer code that enforces it depending on how busy or not the network is. And that fee is distributed. It's sort of like a Robinhood fee, where the people who use the network and the people who participate in validating it or mining tokens, however it works, they get the fee to reward them for the power that they're spending. It'd sort of be like if your power company let you have a generator at your house and was like, hey, thanks for making power for us. We're going to give you a cut of the bills that people pay. Except there's no power company in the middle. It's just a piece of computer code that doesn't need money. So gas fees, they can suck. If you want to avoid them, you can use fast, cheap networks. There are many. And now you can explore the Robinhood DeFi wallet to extract the gas away from your transactions. Alex, don't you think that's going to be something more people do in the future? Coinbase wants to do that. And I know Coinbase wallet, they have goals to make more stuff gasless or feeless. But I think that's something we're going to see more of. Lightning Network will do it for Bitcoin.
Yeah. I mean, plus, it's an opportunity for initiatives to happen. Like that's what we've been seeing on Base a lot lately is, something new starts and Coinbase comps gas fees for a little bit. Actually, I've been offered gas grants before if I was to, move something over to a different network, transaction fees for the first 10,000 transactions we comp by the network, that kind of stuff. So it's a good, I don't know, mixed feelings because, of course, nobody likes to pay gas. But the bottom line is that all over the place right now, I mean, you can find cheap transaction fees. Or, if Ethereum's fees are prohibitive, which to me, they are, I'm not in a position where I can just like frivolously pay a $40, $50, $60 gas fee when I'm like looking at high congestion. Solana exists. Base exists.
Yeah.
Other things exist. I just do stuff over there. Especially at this point. I mean, what? I'm not a person who's doing a whole bunch of super crazy things. If there's a little tiny like meme altcoin that's only on raw ETH, I'm honestly probably going to skip it, in favor of something on Sol, something on Base, something else.
Me too. Quick update. Bitcoin has set yet another new all-time high, $95,029. Congratulations, Bitcoin. Alex, the other story I wanted to ask you about is this ETH L2 thing, because we've talked about this before. People are like, what's going on with Bitcoin dominance? When is Ethereum going to run? And Ethereum's had kind of a rough few months.
Where is it 95?
I don't know, Bob. Tell me. It's 95 on Bob's centralized exchange dashboard.
Yeah, hook me up. Tell me
my source.
Where are we seeing this? Because I'm not seeing. I'm seeing up on the day, but I'm seeing 94.2 right now.
94.2. I love that about, we have decentralized hubs of information, so everybody's got a different number where the points don't matter. Bob, let us know. Machiste says it's fake news. Well, you heard it here first on the Rise Up Morning Show. Thanks for fact checking us, folks. Let us know what the actual price of Bitcoin is. And in the meantime, let me tell you, if you're waiting for ETH to pump, you and everybody else, there's a really strong debate raging in the Ethereum community right now that L2s are parasitic, that people are losing confidence in the Ethereum layer 1, and that this is one of the reasons that we are not seeing Ethereum following close to Bitcoin. But the co-founder of Gnosis, Martin Koppelman, recently proposed, Machiste, I'm curious if you know about this, recently submitted a proposal, or maybe he has just submitted it on the internet. I don't know that it's an EIP yet, that Ethereum should just do its own native L2s. And not even its own native L2, Alex. He's proposing 128 layer 2 chains that are essentially based on Ethereum, run by Ethereum, stakers and validators, not the Arbitrum Foundation, not a separate token, not Coinbase, not Base, as a way to scale the L1 and avoid siphoning off the activity and fees to a layer 2 network that is separate from Ethereum. What do you think about that? And my reaction is, why didn't anybody think of that sooner, honestly?
It's interesting. I'm thinking here that, like, with this in particular, I probably don't have anything super insightful to add. I don't, because my gut says, like, the limit of my technical expertise basically has me at this point where I can see a pro and I can see a con. If you look at the way that these different scaling solutions work, because they don't all work the same way, different styles of rollups, different ways of batching transactions and making things more efficient and whatever, then of course I can see the benefit of something built on ETH getting a lot of users and a lot of traction and doing things that overall, like, help support ETH. But I also see, like, what Ace is saying here, that a layer 2 is a bit parasitic, wherein the cost of that efficiency on ETH is constantly lowering what validators get. And just, I would worry that, So Evan, curious, there you go. We'll give him a second. Only YouTube can hear me. You left me.
So you're saying no, I don't think it's necessarily that they're. This would be like, just imagine if instead of an Arbitrum token, instead of an Arbitrum chain, if it was all settling to ETH, if it was all so it's super extractive in that sense. I had to switch sides. There we go.
You're good.
But in terms of what it looks like, it is. I mean, changing the role.
To be honest, I want to read some more about it. I'm like, I don't have anything meaningful to add to this conversation at this moment.
I get it. I really just wanted to introduce it to your world. It's deeply technical. You need to sit for an hour and listen to it, and then have an opinion about it. But my opinion on it was, I was bullish, honestly, truly. I think
interesting.
It brings incentives back to scaling the layer 1. The layer 1 does have limits. That's why he proposes 128, because it has to do with block speed, blob size. It's a bunch of technical stuff. And honestly, if you're brand new, I'm sorry if I've turned you off of this conversation. I just wanted to let you know that one of the cool things about blockchain is that it's like building a great city. And we are deciding actively in real time, like, what the amenities of this city will be, how the people of this city will get to experience life there. And it's going to touch pretty much every industry, not just investing. It's going to be the future of the internet and increasingly your offline life as well. And these are like the big infrastructural pieces that we'll all share, which make it possible. So we get nerdy about it.
That's true. It's nice to have something else to do homework on. I haven't done any deep diving on anything new that I don't understand for a long time. So it's probably a good impetus to do something like that.
Yeah. Now I know you got to go in a minute. So do you want to take a couple rapid fire questions?
Yes.
Yes. He said, okay. Neil asked us a question earlier, and I want to just touch it. I feel like he might be gone, but he said he heard that Michael Saylor was going to start offering treasury bonds on Bitcoin that they hold, like yield earning. And I just wanted to say, Neil, I think that's the future of Bitcoin. People will rent it to you. And I'm making a video on that later today. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, Alex.
I saw the question and I noted it down to dig into, just because, yeah, I don't know. The comment that I saw was, Terra vibes, and I'm like, I don't know about that.
I think he's going to earn yield on Bitcoin whether the market's up or down.
Yeah, I mean, his average price too is really low compared to where we're at right now. I mean, I think this last purchase probably pushes his average pretty close to, if not just over 40K. But the last average that I saw for him was 38 and change. And that was relatively recently. So he's in a good spot, I mean, and look at Bitcoin right now. We're dancing around, on the precipice of 95. We're a butterfly fart from 100 grand. And I mean, the interesting thing, the difference here is that, instead of just having us driving the market, we have different things driving. And so there's this question, Evan, I saw your video about floor, and kind of, I think it's an interesting conversation, talking about floor and talking about, historically we have set a new floor for Bitcoin on election day. So it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see if that holds, because this was pretty high. We're in the 70s. For those who aren't aware, the floor is like the bottom price that something could be. So the theoretical discussion here is trying to determine, like, where do we think Bitcoin's floor is going to be? By that we mean, in the next bear market, what's the bottom?
Yeah, what's the lowest it's going to go?
Bitcoin could fall down to. So previously, in the last bear market, Bitcoin went down into the high teens, and that was its floor. It'll be curious to see if history, holds and keeps the election night floor for the next bear, which would be, a bottom price of 77. There are theories that I honestly have a hard time poking too many holes in, that are just like, we're in completely uncharted territory with this, right? It's a young asset. We don't have the biggest history ever for Bitcoin. And right now you've got states in the United States actively filing, legislation to work on a strategic reserve for the state itself. You've got Senator Lummis, who's had the Bitcoin strategic reserve built for the United States, the whole country.
That's been on the table.
That's been out for a while. Now you've got an incoming administration that looks like it will probably support that. Then you've got other countries who don't want to get left behind. You've already got El Salvador with their president bull posting things just like I told you, because they're up big. That worked out real well for them. And we've been saying for years that El Salvador was going to need to prove, they were going to need to put the proof into the global pudding, and then they would inspire other people. I mean, I did see a creator with a straight face say on their live yesterday that the US was currently experiencing hyperinflation. Like, brother, you should look at other countries, because there are countries experiencing hyperinflation, and something like a Bitcoin strategic reserve might look real appealing.
Does anyone know what the threshold for that is? What's the threshold?
I don't, but I gotta imagine that it's higher than 3%.
Yeah, but our inflation is like, our true inflation's got to be higher than 3%. I think I see a lot of economists say we're closer to like 10.
Yeah, and
I feel like hyper starts at double digits. Don't quote me. Don't add me.
I would be curious if anyone knows like what the actual threshold for hyper is. Yeah. Because all I mean is that there are countries with multi-hundreds of percents. So like,
and also, what's after hyper? Do you think it goes to mega? Is it like Pokemon? Like hyper inflation. Mega? Yeah, giga inflation.
Right? Uber inflation.
Yeah.
But yeah. So no, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know if you have like that's kind of a fun guess, but like, as we're in this sort of like, is it really price discovery, or is it just like value realization? That's kind of the counter term that I've been enjoying lately, that I will take credit for. just because I don't know, it just seems more like we're already seeing liquidity crunches, which is exactly what you expect to see post halving. Less of it's coming onto the market at the same time that adoption demand is growing. Eli
50%
says hyper
or more.
is more than 50. Okay, so there are certainly countries experiencing hyper. We are not. Not to say that we're not experiencing inflation. I'm not a psycho. I'm just saying
Your eggs are expensive. We get it.
Trying to be objective here.
Mine too.
You know, I've friends that live in countries like Turkey that have considerably worse inflation, for whom something like Bitcoin is not just like that seems like a potentially good investment. It's like, no, I really need some of that because like I'm really struggling over here, and that's cool. And yeah, inflation is normal. The Fed will tell you that, you know, there is an ideal rate. And I mean, we say all the time, you know, it's part of the tokenomics model for a lot of utilitarian tokens. You got to have a method for more of it to come into circulation to give to more users so that more people can do the thing with your token.
I mean, it's kind of, you know, inflation is a mechanic that you might exploit, like you would exploit a feature in a game. The same thing is true. Somebody asked about Michael Saylor taking on debt to buy Bitcoin. Like that is a strategy. If interest rates are low and Bitcoin is going up, then like, why wouldn't you do that? You know, might be more tax efficient than holding cash or something like that. It's a bet on Bitcoin's long-term future. It maximizes shareholder value to have more Bitcoin on their balance sheet, even against debt. So, you know, it's risky, but
also, in the words of tech CEO, the mug is the ultimate hedge against inflation.
Honestly, the mug is the ultimate hedge against inflation, and you can find this
deflationary asset in the mug.
You can find this mug, a limited edition mug, at the riseupmorningshow.com. And you know what else I got to pitch is tonight. We're live Monday through Thursday at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, but we're also live Wednesday nights, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern for Rise Up After Dark. We got a whole different theme song, a whole different look, and we swapped the coffee for adult beverages to research your favorite altcoin picks. Somebody asked about Cetus. We did Cetus last week. We've done a couple of tokens from the SUI ecosystem. We've done Ton. We've done Aerodrome. We've done, you name it. Somebody's talking about it. We did DGen. It's the place to go to get in the know about what we think about this or that token. Would we spend more time or money on it? And the best place to leave your pick for us is in the Rise Up Morning Show Discord server. That's discord.gg/riseup. We pull picks from the Discord to research every week. And sometimes we have guests. Like next week on Rise Up After Dark, we're going to have Evan McMullen of Bravado ID. We're going to have the Technically Web3 guys back after that to talk about the decentralized internet websites that they're building. Very cool stuff. You can check it out there, and you can find the link to our YouTube at theriseupmorningshow.com, or just hop in the Discord and we'll give it to you there. I'm
gonna run, Evan. I think that if just because I do have a bit of a hike, I'm gonna call in radio show style. So I'll rejoin you in a second, because I did kind of want to talk about just some good old fashioned fun speculation about this stuff. So, someone was asking about Bitcoin to 100 and then retrace.
Yeah, Robbie asked about Sol.
And I definitely kind of wanted to like brainstorm and work through that with you to sort of get our theories out there. Of course, with the disclaimer that we don't have a crystal ball. If we did, we would tell you. And I don't know. I'm more nosy than anything else. Like I like to say I'm prepared for both. I'm holding. I have. For the record, my portfolio is Bitcoin, Ethereum, Avalanche, Solana, and USDC. I've got a healthy amount of USDC. I've been taking profits and stuff that I bought during the bear market in those first four. And, if we do bleed down and retrace and correct, I'm ready for that. If we keep going, I'm ready for that. Just because I have no earthly idea which way it's going to go. And neither one would frankly surprise me. So, Evan, if you give me a second.
Take your time. I'm gonna have our friend Robbie come up because he had a question. Sweet. I think wanted to comment. And if you are one of our friends and we know you from Discord, feel free to jump on up by tapping the request button. If you tap the request button and I don't bring you up, it's just because we don't know you and we want to get to know you by spending some time with you in the Discord first. So here comes our good friend Robbie, and Alex will be back in just a minute. See you in a minute, Alex. Robbie, welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Man, it's going good. Alex is in transition right now, so he'll be back in a second. But I saw you had a couple good questions in that. But first, I got to know, it's been a minute. I know you've been busy. What you been up to? How you feeling?
It's been a fat minute, as you guys would say. And welcome to the guys in the chat from the other side of the pond this morning. It's 2:00 in the afternoon here in Ireland, so we're halfway through the day, and I can see now like Bitcoin is going to maybe hit 95k today, so we're all happy over here, guys.
Yeah, that's right, man.
Hey, I must say, how long have I been away, man?
Oh, I don't know. It's been a couple of weeks, month or two. I feel like it's been a month or two since I really saw you in the audience.
It feels like a long time, my friend.
Well, I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you're in the Discord. And I saw you asking about soul in the chat, but I'm happy to take the conversation anywhere you want to go. Did you have a question, suggestion, good joke, word of wisdom for us today?
No, basically for the last 6 months, I've been in the meme coin circus. Bringing out new products and working in Telegram groups and just raiding and set up our own coins and things like that. Nothing I will say is any financial advice, but I can't even tell you the kind of projects that we're into, just in case people jump on in there.
Just promise me that you're not behind this winter coin raid that we had this morning.
Winter coin?
Yeah. At the very start of the show, everyone in the chat said winter to the moon, winter coin, winter token, buy winter.
No, I've been so busy, mate. It's actually took a bit of a toll on my mental health this last 3-4 months. You know, it is really hard when you're 20 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yeah,
14,
I get it.
16 weeks straight. So yeah, it's actually great to get back into a normal time frame for family and real life. So no, it's great to get chatting to you. And it looks like you've got a new phone or a
I know,
camera.
right? It's like a rocket ship, man. The quality is off the wall.
It is radio broadcast quality.
That's right, man. Hey, so okay, not to traumatize you with the meme talk, but we do have a couple questions coming in, like what kind of memes? You don't have to tell us about the stuff you've been working on, but tell us what kind of memes are catching your attention right now when you're in the meme coin casino, or just as you're watching the market lately.
Things with big volume.
Okay, big volume, and is big liquidity a part of that too, or just big volume?
Yeah, well, you know, you have to go in small would be any advice I would give, and just like write it out and see where it goes, because 1 minute it could be 1 million, the next minute it could be 100 million, or it could be 0.
What ecosystems are you paying attention to?
Sol. I might go into a little bit of a rant about Sol, but basically when I started my journey, I was put off Sol because of the memes and because of the circus. And this was in January, February time. There was a lot of chat about memes, and I was more in the alts and fetch and things like that, as you know.
Right.
And slowly but surely it kept becoming more in my kind of attention was drawn to it more and more. So I've kind of changed my opinion on the whole thing since Pump Fun and things like that have kind of appeared on the scene, because they would be less ruggable than they were in the past. So that's why I got involved more in Sol and in memes, because we are kind of really thinking here that meme season is never going to end.
Yeah. That's an interesting observation, and I'm kind of inclined to agree. And I also think that it's going to float around. Like, for people who are totally new to this space, when they log into Coinbase for the very first time, or Robinhood or something like that, they'll see Doge, they'll see Shiba Inu, they'll see the big boys that are on the front page of the internet. And then I think they're going to, because it's easy to get there, maybe go someplace like Sol or Base. And then it wouldn't surprise me, a lot of these ecosystems, as people get in, I think it's just easier to understand meme coins. And it's easier to transfer some money to, I don't know, XRP or Kronos or one of these smaller low TVL networks where memes are just kind of starting. That's what I anticipate might be kind of a trend for some crypto people is, like which meme ecosystem is going to be the next to pop. I feel like wasn't there a Tron meme coin casino that popped up? I think it was sun.pump.sun or sun.pump or something like, you know what I'm talking about? So
yeah, I've also been in TRX.
Okay, yeah.
That was a mission. That was like learning how to get on a DEX without a mobile.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Oh, trying to swap Sol to TRX and have a TRX wallet and different gas and different fees. And it put years on my life.
Well, man, I'm so glad to see you back again, and I was really glad to see you in the Discord. If you enjoy hanging out with Robbie, then really the place to connect, send him an @ in the Discord, because I'd like to see you around the general chat more. You were really helpful in sharing information related to the ASI transition in our forums there. What's happening with that? I haven't seen them a lot lately.
I was going to have a look when I came on or before I came on, because I haven't even looked at an alt in 3 months, 4 months.
Yeah, because you've just been busy.
Just you get engrossed in what you're doing, working within communities and things like that with the memes that much that days and weeks go by and you don't even realize.
Yeah. Well, listen, man, I'm glad you put your foot on the brakes a little bit. I'm glad hopefully it's beautiful in Ireland right now, and the air is fresh and you're breathing easy.
Well, we did have a little sprinkling of snow this morning.
Really? Oh
yeah.
Man, that's great. We, here in Tennessee, we might get snow, we might not. It honestly hasn't even cooled down a bit yet, but I hope you do get a little white Christmas. I hope we do too.
Yeah, well, here, I'll maybe catch up with you later on the late night, because it's easier for me on the late night than it is on the daytime. So
no problem. I appreciate you for being here, man. Thank you for checking in. It's always a pleasure.
No worries,
I'm going to keep answering some questions here.
Tell the two chins that I was asking for them.
I will. You know it. I'll talk to you soon, Robbie.
You later.
Bye.
Goodbye, my friend. Bye.
If you've got a question or you want to call into the Rise Up Morning Show, you don't have to dial an 800 number. You just tap the button at the bottom of your screen. We'd love to hear from you. And I want to take this question next and hear your input on this from Elbus, who says, I bought a Bitcoin, half a coin, for about an average price of $15,000 a coin. Should I take profit? It's 45% of my investments. And Elbus, this is a great question. It's one that everybody struggles with. And what I want to say to you is take a look on our YouTube channel at the conversation we had yesterday, because Mac was here, Alex was here, and Will popped in, and we workshopped a live document of the answer to the question, I've got X amount of dollars, what should I invest in? And we also answered the question like, when and how do I take profits? Some of the questions that you can ask yourself to think about this are, what are my goals? What do I want to do with the money? Like, why'd you buy Bitcoin in the first place? That's going to help inform why and when you might want to take profits. The next thing that's going to inform it is this a lot of money to me? Like, was that $15,000 more than you could afford to lose? Was it throwaway money for you? And how long do you plan to be in the market? If you were just looking to, make some money as quickly as possible and you don't care to be here anymore, then you can get out. Another thing I would say is, like, what do you want to do with the money next? In terms of, is it crypto? Is it cash? Is it a vacation? That kind of thing. And there are a couple of other really good questions. The PDF Alex is working on making it pretty, and it'll be available. We'll put it in the Discord. But the episode is live on YouTube now. Our YouTube channel is Faceless Labs or Faceless_Labs. You search either one, it'll come right to us. And you find the Rise Up Morning Show playlist. You can find yesterday's episode. But that's a real personal question. For me, I don't know that I'm going to sell any of my Bitcoin, even at whatever the top is, because who knows when the top is. My rule for Bitcoin is I buy a little bit every single day. I've automated it using river.com so that my bank sends some money. I don't do anything except get an email notification. Hey, you bought some Bitcoin today. And if it's a red day, I personally will go in and, buy a little more kind of thing. I'm looking at Bitcoin the same way I would treat a 401k. It's money for when I'm done. And even when I am done, I will probably still continue to hold some Bitcoin like Michael Saylor, because I believe in the future it will be an asset like real estate or stocks that people will use as a store of value and wealth to like do things in the world, especially as dollars continue to get printed and inflate all the time. You know what I mean? Martha says, I use River and I love it. Excellent. Excellent. Oh, sorry. Just had to do a little swiper. You're welcome. Sing Baby Shark next. No, this is not one of those lives. I do occasionally do some music here in Memphis, but not on these lives. We also had another really good question that Alex touched on a little bit earlier, but I want to return to. The system is rigged. Why bother investing now? It's because the underpinning of this system is the dollar, is fiat money. And fiat money is so far out of your control. Only about a dozen people control your government's money supply. So you have got to take your financial future into your own hands. And the best time to, plant a tree was 20 years ago, but the second best time is today. So the name of the game is accumulate assets. And the truth of the matter is that Bitcoin is the most liquid, most easily fungible asset, much more than a house. Can you imagine trying to trade a house for dollars like that? You know what I mean? And an increasing global network of people accepts Bitcoin. It's impossible to censor. So it's not bad to get started.
Though many have tried.
Though many have tried.
So many have tried.
And welcome back.
And welcome back.
Oh man, you're going to get a terrible echo.
You're going to get a terrible echo.
Oh, hang on.
Got that Bluetooth life going on, baby. Echo, echo, echo.
Is that better?
Test check 1, 2. Rise up. Yeah, it's perfect. Thank you very
How
much.
about now? There we go. I think that's good.
So Alex is on the morning drive. You said you had a couple of things you wanted to talk about. We just had a great update from Robbie. And I've been answering a question here or there. If you've got a question, feel free to leave it. But Alex and I are going to take this conversation back to where he said he wanted to bring it, which is you wanted to do a little speculation, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, speculation is a little fun, especially when we're all aware that we're literally just sitting here taking guesses and kind of daydreaming. So I would be really curious to hear what people in the audience and stuff think. If you guys have a price target in mind, something more specific, so for the record too, I think this is an important distinction. Evan and I are not like technical analysts. We're not like studying charts and coming up with numbers and stuff that way. This is more just like vibing. Like that's why we don't make any price predictions, because Evan and I exclusively just vibe. And kind of what do you feel like? Where do you feel like it's going to go? Not based on hard data. Will makes a lot more of his guesses and his predictions and stuff based on data and trying to determine like where things are going to go because of that and stuff. But
I wouldn't say our opinions aren't based on data. I would just say that we don't necessarily inform that data with like a astrology of a chart.
Yes. Yeah. That's what I mean. That we're not like sitting here at a chart and drawing lines on it and being like, well, based on this and that and this dinosaur bat wing pattern that it's going to do blah, 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 whatever. Like that's not me.
Tech CEO says his guess is $106,893.29. And if we're playing Price is Right rules, then I'm going to say $106,893.28. That's what I'm going to say. I don't know, man. What do you think?
I just like the way that this has gone, that feels really conservative to me. But
yeah,
I don't know. I'm just like, yeah, I'll take the over, I don't know. Okay. So here's kind of what's informing my excitement. And I don't, believe in taking all of my excitement from the echo chamber that is social media.
Sure.
But sometimes you can use social media to get, notice of specific things that are outside of the echo chamber that the echo chamber just gets jacked about. And for me in Bitcoin right now, that's what this is. It's the idea that, kind of regardless of what global, I think it's insane to say that macroeconomics don't play a role in influencing Bitcoin's price at this point, but I kind of wonder when we're going to get away from that. You know, like, what is it going to be this year? Is it going to be in 10 years? Is it going to be in 15, 20, 30 years? You know, I don't know. I'm just kind of feeling like, you know, I hate to say this cycle is different, because we say that every single cycle and there's always something different about it, right? Like, that's the ultimate bingo card, you know, gimme box.
Yeah, exactly.
But just seeing all of these different countries right now, it's all just like, yeah, we'll do it. Yeah, we'll do it too. You get a Bitcoin reserve. You get a Bitcoin reserve. So it doesn't really mean much until we see someone put policy forward. But like Pennsylvania put policy forward. Senator Lummis has a bill that she has written. She didn't write it alone. There's a couple other people who have worked on it with her, including the Democrat, who's the guy who like is the main co-author that I can never remember the name of. Someone help me out. But it's a bipartisan bill, so that's exciting. You know, if that goes through, I don't know how much, or, you know, if it's going to see amendments or whatever, but like, I don't know, man, those things feel a little bit more solid to me than just like, you know, yes, I want a reserve, you know?
Yeah. So you're saying in terms of numbers, you're taking the over, but do you have any targets?
Yeah.
And I want to know, do you have a target for, what I want to hear is, so we're getting a lot of them in the chat for like, what's the top price? I'm seeing a lot of 100,000 range, 150,000, and even some like 250,000. 150,000 seems pretty common. I want to know what you think the top price is. I want to know what you think the new floor might be, and when we'll hit the top. That's what I want to know. Give me a number. And if you want, I'll go first because I got my numbers.
Okay. I will answer your question with a question, then I want to hear what you say, because I don't know. Genuinely, I haven't like picked a number, so I'm just literally pulling one out of thin air. But have you noticed that more lately resistance has been being met on the big stuff at market cap and not dollar price, just given the inflation rates of some of these tokens? I'm thinking primarily of the Solana example that we just saw.
Yeah.
You know, where it found resistance at 100 billion, which makes sense. I mean, that's a really nice round number. So I'm wondering if Bitcoin's going to be similar. But I think, you know, Bitcoin might be the exception just because its inflation rate is so public. It's so known exactly how often, how many tokens, you know, how many Bitcoin come into circulation from the miners. So I don't know. I'm kind of thinking market cap first versus, you know, regular price. But floor wise, you know, I'm inclined to say right now, you know, history says it's going to be, you know, in the mid 70s, but that seems a little high to me. So I don't know. We'll see. It
does seem high, doesn't it? But you know, I'm feeling with you, and this is frisky, but I am thinking that we're just around the new floor right now. I kind of think that we're going to have, I'm not a big believer, you know, in the 4-year cycle theory, because I just don't think we have enough data. I think COVID really threw us for a wrench last time, and that was even off the 4-year cycle. I think the halving is priced in. I think that we are going to, though, probably continue to play this game, you know, where we're kind of like teetering towards 100,000 or maybe surpassing it. I think that's going to happen through Christmas. I think people are going to feel good through Christmas. I think after New Year, we're going to see a kind of pullback again, because we got to have a pullback sometime. And then I think this, are you ready for this? I think that we are going to hit the top on, I'm going to call it 420. Yeah. And I think the high price is going to be above 150. That's what I think. I just based on, you know, looking at the chart and looking at how much it exploded, it would not surprise me. It honestly would not surprise me if it was like 250 before it came back. It also, I will say, wouldn't surprise me if it went to 120 and that was the top we got, and we fell back to somewhere like 70. But that's just, you know, for the fun and for the vibes. That's where I'm going. That's where I'm going. I think we're entering an era of accelerating Bitcoinization. The states are buying, the government's buying, Microsoft's buying, and you just know that when Michael Saylor goes to bed at night, he's thinking, did I buy enough? Am I using enough leverage? You know what I mean? Like he's got to be worried that he doesn't have enough, even though he's got more money than God. So that's what I'm calling. 150K is my like conservative, or my like baseline. I think we're going to see that before the end of this cycle. I think it could be higher, and I think it's happening on 420 because that's just how things are in this space. I did want to point out that I don't remember which token it was. Some meme token, maybe it was Cock Inu, is is sitting at number 420 for the market cap, and I just got to believe that the community is doing that for the vibes. Like,
Yeah.
if they bump up to 419, people are selling, and if they bump down to 420, people are buying. You know why not?
So that's an interesting question, because that's kind of one of my speculations too. Is that okay? You know, let's play this out. Like, you know, what ultimately will drive, you know, that much more money into Bitcoin that brings the price up to, you know, something, you know, so far unforeseen. You know, mid hundreds. You know, pushing it to, well, like, what's going to do that? And you got to think, okay, institutions and governments, driving, because, you know, like, I don't think that retail can necessarily do that alone. It's going to be a collaborative effort. So, in that sense, who are the biggest, most powerful? Do they have any exposure? Do they want more exposure? Because that's where the you know, potential to manipulate price downward to shake out people comes. At the same time, we know from watching the inverse that whenever you see people like just foaming at the mouth for something to like skyrocket in price, it, you know, usually does the opposite. And, you know, the inverse of that, when right now I feel like everyone that I see is just like retrace, pull back. Like, it's got to happen. We're definitely getting a correction. And Bitcoin's always just, you know, for the past couple of weeks has just been like, you know what, bitch, hold my beer and let's add another 1,000. Let's add another 1,000 to the all-time high. And we're just sitting here in the 90s. So, like, of course, you know, my being burned by crypto in the past says, yeah, pull back, of course, naturally. But, you know, I think this is why you gotta prepare for both. This is why I say, you know, you never sell your entire bag, and this is why you never bet the entire farm on something at the same time, because who knows? No one freaking knows.
Yeah, it's exactly as you say. And I think people are on both sides of the fence, and that's what's confusing me, right? Like, you know, Tori is right here with everybody else saying, I love this. I have the best time speculating about this. Everybody's got their price prediction like ready to go, and we are all locked into this. But then there are people on the other side of the fence, your waiter, your barber, your grandma, who are like, hey, you know about Bitcoin, right? And I feel like those people, you know what I mean? Like, there's such a divide in sentiment, and the institutions are so bullish more than ever. Like, we talked last time about institutional adoption, and I feel like even the time before that we were talking about in a small way, but like the institutions I feel like are really here, or they're about to be here in a big way. That's why I think the 4-year cycle is broken. I am kind of expecting, I don't know if that I would call it a super cycle, because that's what people say, but I am kind of expecting this incredible like onboarding of institutional money. It's going to get easier than ever. I think our government is going to incentivize it directly and indirectly, meaning the U.S. government with the buying of a strategic reserve. I just can't imagine like the floodgate that's about to open if that happens.
Let's play this out into an actual like real world hypothetical, because I'm inclined to agree, you know, but at the same time, I'm just sitting here thinking there's not enough Bitcoin for this. There's not enough Bitcoin for this. But
that's why it's going to go higher, because the demand will drive it higher.
Right. Yeah. No, and listen, I totally get it. And like, of course, divisible by 100 million, you know, we can bring this down to the individual Satoshi. You can get to a point where a single Satoshi, you know, theoretically is $10, right? Like,
or more.
In theory, that's possible. Yes, exactly. So, okay, what does that world look like to you? You know, like, all right, so I have currently, let's just make up some numbers, you know, 0.01 Bitcoin. And I can't do enough math to tell you what that cost is right now. You know, someone help me out. What's that, like $900? $900. Okay. So, you know, someone might look at that and be like, oh my God, that's not enough. If it only goes up, you know, to $500,000, you know, you've only made, you know, whatever percent on your money, blah, 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 blah. In this hypothetical where all of these institutions want some exposure, all these countries want exposure, and there's just simply not enough to go around. First of all, I worry that we're going to see some psycho, like, literally start a war to get someone else's Bitcoin. But at the same time, I wonder, like, okay, what does that look like for the consumer? Does this just become the ultimate collateral wherein, you are borrowing money against, putting up your Bitcoin as collateral to borrow money, and that's you're walking around like transaction buying everyday goods and stuff like that. But like, how does that work? And I'm not enough of a money person or an economist to be able to know, like, okay, how do you build a sustainable, workable everyday system like that? Because obviously, we know transacting with raw Bitcoin is not the world's fastest, smoothest process, so I don't know. Hold on.
Oh, okay. So let me respond to that while you're
Thank you.
doing your thing. First of all, scaling Bitcoin is happening now. Lightning Network is a thing. They're talking about other ways to scale the network. CTV, if you want to look it up, is a proposal that's happening in the Bitcoin community. Eventually, they're going to have to deal with quantum computing. If it becomes sufficiently advanced at scale, they'll have to upgrade the protocol. And what I think is most likely to happen is people will use their Bitcoin the way Michael Saylor is. I have a video I want to make later today where somebody said, like, why would you rent your Bitcoin, for example? Like if there's a future where all the Bitcoin is mined, it's 2145, and the supply is in circulation, I made the claim that I think people will rent their Bitcoin. They will lease it to other people the way you might lease a home or a car that you own. And someone was like, wait, why would you rent or loan Bitcoin? What would they do with it? You can't drive it like a car. But imagine this. A future where it's so expensive compared to like what dollars are worth versus what Bitcoin is worth to transact, where it's the ultimate appreciating asset, and where the network, that's the thing. Bitcoin is not just a dollar value asset. It's not just a form of money that you're going to spend day to day. It is a network. It is a protocol. It is like a computer. And it is a huge, secure computer. And there is a world where the United States government, which sees itself as the #1 global superpower, would have a vested interest in accumulating as much of that network share as possible. That would be a huge flex and would give them considerable economic global power. And I could see a future where the United States would say to somebody who's a citizen of the country who has a lot of Bitcoin, or anybody who has Bitcoin, like, stake with us, lend us your Bitcoin. Can't stake your Bitcoin because it's not proof of stake, but you know what I mean. Loan us your Bitcoin so we can use it to do things with the network. And we will reward you with patriotism points or dollars or whatever. I don't know. Maybe that's how you get currency in the future. You know what I'm saying?
Campaign to rebrand the US dollar as patriotism points.
Oh my God. They basically are, you know what I mean? Like Trump bucks. I could see a future where that would happen, where people will use their Bitcoin in that way, because owning a share of the network, the world's most valuable asset, that's going to be, can you do that with gold? Yeah. Is it harder? Infinitely. Because this stuff is digital and it's on a blockchain, it's easier. It's cheaper. I think people might use it for warfare someday. We've talked about that before.
Yep. I mean, if it is value, greed, we're not going to like solve greed right now. So that will continue to be a thing. The vying for power will continue to be a thing. All of these things are monumental, hurdles that something like Bitcoin doesn't just fix. Or even really solve. At this point, it's like you said. It's
exactly. Alex, it's like you're in a tunnel, or like I think we lost him.
Well, yeah, that's what it feels like.
Yeah, there we go. We got you.
Maybe we're back.
Yeah, you're back. As you were saying.
I was just saying, does this make Michael Saylor the emperor, or the supreme commander?
Well, you're kind of gone again, but we heard what you said about Michael Saylor being the supreme commander. It absolutely does. He's like the Palpatine of this future. 1% of the supply would be enough, but that's why I think a government would want him to like allocate his Bitcoin to them for a vote or for something like that. You know what I mean? When the globe relies on the Bitcoin network the way the globe relies on the internet, then they're going to say, Michael Saylor, we want your vote with us. I think that's going to be a huge part of Bitcoin's future. And I think people who don't have Bitcoin are going to want or need it for who knows what. There's a lot of stuff. So Glenn, I see you in the audience. Welcome, man. I don't know if you missed it, but we were giving our just for fun price predictions about Bitcoin. And if you're with us in the audience, it's just about time for us to ride our dogs and ponies into the sunset. So if you've got a last minute question, suggestion, good joke, word of wisdom, then we want to hear from you. And I also want to invite you to jump into the Discord server if you haven't already. It's discord.gg/riseup. The link is right here on the screen if you're on TikTok, and it's right below me if you're on YouTube. Tonight is the night we are coming back for Rise Up After Dark. Rise Up After Dark is the show where we research your altcoin picks. If you want us to do a token that you're interested in, then leave it in the Discord server, and we will make time to research it tonight, give you our thoughts. So last questions as we head out the door. Do I think owning one Bitcoin in the future is going to be enough? I think I would defer to Kurt Vonnegut, who tells a great story about being at a party with very wealthy people. And his friend who invited him says, "Oh my gosh, can you imagine all these people with all this money in the room with us? There must be billions of dollars here." And Kurt Vonnegut said, "Yes. But I have something that these people will never have, could never buy with all their money." And the guy said, "You do?" He said, "What?" And Kurt Vonnegut said, "Enough." So that's what I think. I think if you don't have enough, you'll never have enough. It's like trying to find the party. Some people walk around saying, "Where's the party?" Those people will never find the party. In terms of enough to buy your groceries, yeah, I think if you own one Bitcoin, you're going to be set. Honestly, truly. If you live long enough, maybe not in the next 10 years, but probably in the future beyond that if we keep using dollars. Thoughts on stacks? Come back and let's talk about it tonight. I think it's a great solution for scaling what Bitcoin can do. I loved what they were doing with city coins. I think that'll be a huge part of the infrastructure we use in the future. Tokens for cities, tokens for companies, tokens for everything. Clubs. It's going to be huge. There will be places that only take Bitcoin in the future, very possibly. Someone will say you can only pay in Bitcoin. It will be in their interest to accumulate more, I'm sure. Donut says, "I'm flipping 5K into one Bitcoin. Watch me." That sounds good. How do I feel about layer 3s? I think it depends on the layer 3 you're talking about. But if you're talking about infrastructure generally, then I'm bullish on it. I think we need lots of ways to scale blockchains. And I think it makes sense in some cases for individual decentralized applications to have their own specific layer. I think in some cases it does not make sense. Like in the Ethereum thing, this debate about L2s being parasitic, I think to some degree they're abstracting value away from the base chain. But there are also highly specific use cases that might need their own chain to do stuff with and not be congested elsewhere, like a game. And the way I like to think about it is like businesses that exist in a building that is in a city. Layer 1s, layer 2s, layer 3s. You know, you go to the business for your sandwich, and you go to the building to see your sandwich shop and your barber and your tax guy, and then you do it all in the city where you live. That's Ethereum. That's the L2, and that's a layer 3. Highly specific use case blockchains. I think we'll see a lot of them. Alex, are you back?
Are we back?
We are back. I was just answering a couple rapid fire questions, and I would love to kick it to you before you rug us again to give us your final thought, question, suggestion, good joke, word of wisdom before you rug your pony off into the sunset.
Don't come for me.
Listen, man.
No, I'm excited to do some altcoin stuff. Quick update for the channel. I know you did a little bit of this, but I'm looking at a couple. We're looking at bringing on more and more guests to do more and more kind of specialized conversations. Right. So the big one that I'm working on right now are a few of my friends from the Wolves DAO, primarily the man himself, Sam Stefanina. So I'm working on getting him on. He's in Manila right now for the YGG, which is it's a gaming conference event. Couple other events kind of floating around over there, so they're all over there right now. So it's a little bit tricky to nail everyone down, but he was thinking he might be able to swing something just because the time difference is kind of perfect. They're working on that. If you have any questions or anything you want to know about token-wise, game-wise, drama-wise, anything about Web3 gaming, he's the guy. So, drop those questions in Discord and we will get them answered, or you can join us live for that. It might be Thursday morning. It might be next week. We're not positive yet. And then, of course, I think we saw a pretty decent demand for getting Angel back, especially given where we're at in the markets, to do a more deliberate explanation of, some things to be aware of with regards to your taxes and crypto and how it works, and maybe some strategies and stuff like that. I think that would be cool. We've never really done that before, Evan, to talk about like specific tax mitigation strategies, that sort of stuff. And yeah, I don't know. I'm stoked. I feel like we're I don't know. I'm just excited to be here.
Hey man, no data, just vibes. We're all excited to be here every day, and I'm glad to be here with you and with you, my friends. You're the best part of the Rise Up Morning Show, and we couldn't do it without you. So thank you so much. This is your last chance. Jump in the Discord if you haven't got the link already. Take a screenshot. We are going to be back in just a few hours for Rise Up After Dark, and then we'll be back to close out the week tomorrow morning, same time, same place. We'd love to have you with your questions, your suggestions, your comments, and help you get acclimated to what's going on in crypto. So, my friends, we'll see you then. And until then,